up, y'all? It's your girl Malika checking in with another episode of From the Block Podcast. And as you can see, okay, we got a packed house. Okay, period. We love a good group discussion. So, y'all, today's discussion, it's a serious one. It's a serious one, and it's really important. So, colorism. Colorism is a sensitive yet important subject. And as we all know, darker skinned women, we have to fight a little harder. So I'm really excited about this topic discussion today because it's something that needs to be had. So today's playlist, which you could check it out on our Instagram, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, is gonna be posted on all of that. Okay, period. LinkedIn too. Tap in. Is Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce. India Re, I'm Not My Hair, and Melanin Magic by Remy Ma. So let's break this down real quick. What is colorism? Now, because people love to like downplay it and make it seem like it's not a real thing. So, according to the Oxford Dictionary, colorism is a prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. So, opening question, how has colorism impacted you?
Well, okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
First of all, thank you for bringing me on here because I feel like everyone has experienced colorism in so many different ways, right? I come from an Indian and Caribbean background, so my experience has been a little bit different than how somebody who's African American might have experienced it. So it's been a journey experiencing those kinds of things, just racism in general, colorism. So I think a lot of times as I was younger, I experienced maybe microaggressions and not really been aware of it.
Mm.
And then as I got older, like I've really been, eye opened, like, wow, this is how people's perspective is, or like, wow, this is what people think. So I would say like shocked is like a big term for me and like a big emotion for how I've been perceiving it so far.
Makes sense. Valid points. Good connections too. I would say for me personally, like when I was younger, colorism obviously did affect me. Like you grow up and you hear like, oh, if you're not lighter skinned, you're not pretty, or like you get called all types of names. People have been called like tar, burnt biscuit, like stuff like that, just because of something that you can't help. Like it's your skin tone. It's what you were born with. It's what you were blessed with.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've grown up, obviously I'm a grown woman now. I've grown to like love all of my features that I have. I love my dark skin. I love my big lips. I love all of the things that make me black. But then also, I've turned it more positive into like I can uplift myself and other women that look like me, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to put down women that are lighter than me or don't have the same complexion. So like uplifting all women. It's not just about I'm black and I'm proud. I love my skin tone, but also I'm not gonna bash another woman because she's lighter skinned or she might be more favorable to someone. Just like making sure we're all in the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
I would say colorism has taught me to love myself more from what I have within and not so much as what they can see on the outside because only I know me. So I feel like growing up and experiencing that at a younger age and not understanding why people of my own race did not like my dark skin because I didn't really get any hate from people that weren't African American. So it taught me at a young age that the only person that can tell me about who I am is myself. And if I continue to let that affect me, then that's who I'm going to be. So I had to learn I don't put down other people just because I'm being bullied or I'm going through the motions. That's something that they have to deal with on their own. But it taught me a lot of self-love, and I feel like as I got older, I started to love myself, love my skin. I used to wear clothes that would hide my skin in the summer because I was so ashamed of my skin. So growing up, and I was like my mom's only dark skinned child, so I don't have any siblings or anybody that's my skin color. So it taught me to just love myself inside first and fix everything on the inside and don't worry so much as how I look on the outside. Love myself first.
Absolutely. So I know.
Right.
So I don't know about y'all, but okay. So I saw this on TikTok, and I wholeheartedly agree. But someone was like, prior to like 2017, 2018, being dark skinned on social media and in real life was just so difficult. Like the kids these days have it much more easier compared to, like when we were growing up. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
People were roasting. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even, like, they turn off the lights. Oh, where's such and such? Like, it's
Right.
always
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
You can't even live with your dark skin. So they do have it a lot easier. And I think it's because we're willing to have these conversations now.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. So I think a lot of people underestimate in other cultures outside of African American cultures just how common colorism goes. Like I remember I think the term, like this is just a quick example, like the term like Afro Latina, I feel like that didn't really become popular until around like 2019, because when you think of a Hispanic person, you think of someone who looks like J-Lo, or you think of someone who looks like Shakira. But there are people in Puerto Rico and the DR and Colombia who look exactly like us, but that was never showcased to us
Yeah.
growing up. So, talk about how common it is in, South Asian culture to experience colorism.
Yeah, you actually said something that's kind of similar to what it's like in Trinidad too. I think it's like 40% of the population there comes from an Indian background, whereas there's others that are from Asian cultures or that are African American descent. So it is kind of like a melting pot over there too, and that's been kind of eye opening also.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right? Yeah, coming over here. And I don't always encounter a lot of people who are from the Caribbean. So when I do, we all look different. And that's kind of cool to experience because it's like, okay, like we have the same culture, but, we can look different and we appreciate each other's differences.
But I feel like even with you saying that, I feel like a lot of people don't even know that people in the Caribbean, they really do look really different. So I would imagine that growing up, did people ever question your nationality when you're like, oh yeah, I'm, Trinidadian? They're like, what?
Oh, absolutely. That happened all the time. And I still get that as an adult too, but
I figured.
definitely, yeah, like middle school. Ooh, middle school was rough. I would get this reoccurring question like, what are you? And, they might have meant like they're genuinely curious where do you come from? But that phrasing, and then sometimes, they're middle schoolers, they'll laugh about it too. So I'll take it as like, okay, they probably had malicious intentions. So I got offended. And then it affected me going forward because anytime anybody would ask me about my background, I would immediately be like, okay, they're probably coming at me some kind of way, start putting up that wall again or whatever. But yeah, it's been interesting trying to open up that wall again, that people genuinely might be curious about where I'm from, because I don't look exactly like one way or the other, especially being half and half. So yeah, I definitely have been questioned a lot. And there was one time one person said, "You look black, but you don't talk black." That was shocking, absolutely shocking. I was like, I didn't even know how to respond.
Yeah.
So people ask questions, just try and approach the questions a way that's a little more sensitive. That's all I can say about that part.
No, yeah, for sure. And I'm glad that you touched on it, because why was middle school so hard for no reason? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ruthless.
No, off topic, like low key, I feel like one of the main reasons why I'm a little apprehensive about having kids is because that middle school experience.
Oh my, yes.
That's gonna break my heart if my kid is just like, God damn, why is this shit so hard?
They go through the trenches.
Right. So growing up, because I know for me the answer is middle school, but growing up, when did you notice people started treating you differently because you had darker skin?
Elementary.
Oh, really?
Elementary.
It was
Pretty
a
young.
teacher.
A teacher?
Yeah.
A
You
teacher
gotta
did that
share
to me
it.
in high school. Yeah, share it.
Yeah. So I was in a daycare in Atlanta. I was just visiting my auntie, and I don't know if she was African or what, but she was dark skinned. She might have been darker than me. She had dark skinned daughters, and I don't know what I did, but as a kid, I was like, I was a kid, and I had to go to the bathroom, and it was like nap time. So I asked her, and she was already like kind of short-handed with me, I would say. And I kept asking her, can I use the bathroom? Can I use the bathroom? She said, no, you're not going to the bathroom. I'm not letting you use the bathroom. So she told me if I was your mom, I would take a belt, dip it in hot water, and I would beat you. And after that, and she was laughing with another kid in the daycare. I will never forget. They were sitting right by the door. And after that, it just affected me for the rest of my life because I ended up using the bathroom on myself.
Yeah.
And then I also experienced somebody my color hating on my skin. And I'm already dealing with it with other kids that are younger than me. And like, you're a grown adult. You know, like
Yeah.
it really, I will never ever forget it. And it just left a scar in my heart. So.
Yeah, at elementary school. Are you
Yeah.
serious? I'm so sorry. That is so early.
Yeah.
I know.
Especially
That's-
as a teacher, that's a wild example
Yeah,
you're setting.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a
You
grown
should not be
man.
working with kids.
Right.
Exactly.
What about y'all?
I think, yeah, for me, I think it was mainly middle school. And then, you know, it was my color, my skin, but also off topic a little bit, but I think, you know, after 9/11, my population kind of was hit in a different kind of way. And I was like only 5 when that happened. So I didn't really see it happening to myself until I was in middle school. And like, you know, the comments or like the kind of looks that they would give me and other people that look like me. So yeah, I would say middle school was definitely the worst. Yeah.
I would probably say I'm pretty sure I experienced it in middle school. I can't think back too far, but I think I would say high school is when it was like more prominent, I guess. Because you know you're dating or you're trying to, you're like getting to know different people. And I remember, oh gosh, I'm gonna just share it. There was this one time, there's this guy, we were like best friends or whatever. We were best friends, and I remember like he would just make certain comments. Clearly, this was not my real best friend, but he would just like
Absolutely
make
not.
certain comments about like my skin tone, and he'd say things like, "Oh, you should date this guy because he's black like you," and it's like, what? Like you're comparing somebody to date them because of the skin tone? Like, it just didn't make sense. He would just say comments like that often. And that it's just like then you focus more on your skin tone. Like, am I actually that dark? And then it's like, who cares? I am dark skinned. Okay, like what's the big deal? You know, why is that the common topic? You know?
Yeah. You know, going back to your example, Michaela, there have actually been multiple studies done that have proven that darker skinned children get treated worse compared to their counterparts in the school system. So yeah, that's really, really disheartening. No, I would say definitely for me, it all started in middle school. No, it was middle school because in elementary school, my life was like pretty regular. So that transition to middle school, I was just so confused because it's like I'm around my family and like I don't feel weird, but when I go to school, y'all treating me as if I'm just like this creature, and I wasn't even ugly.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you look back, you're like,
I was not ugly, but
Yeah,
y'all made me
exactly.
feel ugly, and I was so confused. So, which leads me to my next question. Ooh, I'm about to say about this one. So, did you feel more backlash was coming from your own race or from other races?
Me personally, I would say my own race, and it would come from men and women alike. And it was just from the nastiest place ever, like being compared for every reason, like bigger lips, bigger nose, skin tone being darker, like I said, from men and women. And it's just weird because it's like, I like men. I'm interested in men. I want to date men, obviously. And especially like I'm dating a black man right now. But it's like to hear it from someone that looks like you're supposed to love you, you know, it's just weird. And then it's like, even from a friendship perspective, from like women, it's like, we can't like get along. We can't lift each other up. What's the word? I'm not in competition with you. So you don't need to bash me. You don't need to belittle me in any type of way. So I hope that makes sense.
It definitely did.
That's an interesting perspective too, like to get that kind of backlash from your own, your own people. For me, it was a little different. I think kind of how I mentioned earlier that there's not a whole lot of Indians and Trinidadians, especially with that combination that I encounter all the time. So when I do, I think we both kind of like light up. We're like, oh, you're from the Caribbean too? Like, oh, you're Trinidadian?
Yeah.
It's almost like a hidden like language, Yeah. It's like you get me, I get you kind of thing. So I think that kind of moment, since there's so little of us, it's not like a huge community. I didn't get it as much from my own people. So I think that my experience, I got a little bit more from other people just in general. So like maybe more so people not understanding me or like not knowing, where I come from or like what that means. So, yeah.
That makes sense.
I would say my own race. Because I went to a performing arts school and it had like a lot of Caucasian kids. So they didn't really care. And I was doing ballet too, and that's predominantly, You don't see a lot of African Americans doing that. So I would say when I used to go to summer camp around kids my color or my race, they would just have a ball. I remember one time this boy said, pick the light skinned girl because that other girl too dark. So he didn't date me because I was dark skinned. And I was like 8 or 9. Like now it's like, okay, Michaela, that was done. But like when I heard that, my heart broke. And I'm like, is this how it's gonna be for the rest of my life? And at a point I was like, I don't even want to date black men. Like I didn't want to have a kid my color because I didn't want my kid to go through what I was going through. So I had to have a reset and take a step back and understand that just because somebody doesn't like their own skin doesn't mean that I need to do that to myself.
Yeah.
At what point did you have that reset?
I would say middle school, like 7th, 8th grade. That's when I started to realize like my skin's not going to change. I'm going to be dark skinned until like this is my skin color. I have to accept it. And I made a poem and I started saying affirmations to myself and I started loving on myself and taking care of myself and not listening to everybody else telling me dark skins are this, dark skins are that. Because this whole aggressive thing about dark skins too, that really, I was so aggressive because I thought that's how I was supposed to act because of my skin color. So, yeah, I would say my own race for sure.
That last statement right there, we're gonna talk about it because I have a question about that as well. But no, yeah, definitely. I being around white people, everyone's experience is different. But being around white people, being around other races, I just didn't really experience a lot of microaggressions. Like let me tell you something. My hair could be messed up. I could look a mess. They not finna say nothing for real. But around people who look just like me, I just like how you said, you get a little older, right? You want to start dating. You have girls telling you not gonna get him. Like you not, like you not pretty enough, or and then that starts to play in your head. Like I like him, but I don't think I can even say nothing. It's not necessarily me being insecure, but it's like, damn, everybody's telling me like he really out my league, and it's simply just because of like my skin color. So yeah, I think like I said, a lot of the confusion started happening in middle school simply because of I just don't know where this propaganda started that I just wasn't like enough because of my skin color. And the aggressive thing as well. When I tell you I can relate to that so much because I'm a real like chill, regular individual. But I felt at a young age, which is really crazy to say, but it's true, that I had to be aggressive because that's just how they viewed me. But I wasn't even like that internally.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I even develop that? But no, yeah, I definitely felt the most backlash from people who look like me, which is really crazy. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I was watching Burna Boy's interview with this interviewer, and he was like, growing up, everybody wanted Chris Brown. Like nobody wanted, the darker skin, like the darker skin men. But I not saying validate his comments, because I do get where he's coming from and I do agree with him. But I always hear this a lot, and I have my answer, but I'm curious to know y'all's answers. So with colorism, do you think it affects men worse or women worse? Or do you think it's just about the same?
Wow,
I honestly don't know.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think it affects women more because now it's like a trend to date dark skinned men, white teeth, dreads, all that. Like after they became like in style or in trend, that's when everybody started paying attention to dark skinned women. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
I think it's women, and the example that I'm gonna use is just look at the music or just entertainment industry. Somebody like, you see how much backlash Lizzo gets compared to Rick Ross?
Yeah.
Or like men, you can really come as you are, unless you like butt ugly. Like you're not gonna get a lot of backlash, honestly. But I feel like for women, to be dark skinned, it's like you have to be exceptional. Like you can't just be be basic.
You have to have it's the Eurocentric features. That's what I be talking about. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those I don't, and that's the thing too. Like I just don't understand why so many people in our community are so. Well, I mean, I don't understand, but there's an explanation. I have the explanation. But why so many people in our community are like so hell bent on like Eurocentric features. So if you have like that small nose, if your lips ain't too big, you know, you don't got like, you know, your hair is more of like a looser curl pattern, then you're praised. Like you can be dark skinned, but your features have to be on point. And it's like it's just, you know, dark skinned women, I'm gonna keep it real. It's like they have no room to be basic. But I think lighter skinned women, they have a lot more room to just be basic.
I think that's true. But I also, I mean, I'm gonna just be honest. I think we know why that is. Slavery in this country. Slavery everywhere. Slavery has been rooted, and just the effects of it is why we, well, I'll just say we as a general, not us in this room, but like why we want those Eurocentric features and why we want the lighter skinned women and men, or why we want the looser curls or the smaller nose and the smaller lips. It's rooted in that, and that's what it's rooted in that. Like, so much stuff has happened. It's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It hasn't gone away completely. As you can see, we're still having this conversation. So, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, that's more so why.
I could totally see that being the case. And then, like you said, it's continuing now in like social media and everything. Like, just women in general are like have so much pressure on how they should be appearing themselves or like how they should present themselves. So it definitely takes a bigger toll on women, I think, in a lot of ways, because of like how judgmental we can be towards each other, you know, rather than like how you said, you know, uplift each other and like uplift your people, that kind of thing. So that's harsh reality.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's this makeup artist. Her name's Jasmine. She said the same thing. Like, we're too mean to dark-skinned women. Like, they can have a piece of hair out of place, and now everybody's on their case. But a light-skinned woman do it, nobody cares. Or, like, if a light-skinned woman has a messy bun, a dark-skinned does the same thing. She gets way more hate, or now she wants to be like somebody she's not. Just because she did the same thing.
You better say that part again, because that's so true. Why is that? Like, you really can't do anything. You're pretending you're trying to do something else just because, like, and you're just being yourself. Or maybe I just want to wear my hair like that. Like, I think it's cute too. Can I do that? Yeah, that's.
I remember from a young age that I just told myself that, you know, I'm not sure if anyone wants me, but one thing I do know is, like, I put it upon myself to just be great at whatever I was doing, but it wasn't in like a self-love type of way. It was more of like in an obsessive way, if that makes sense. So I'm like, okay, I cannot be big at all, because like that's just gonna make it worse. So like going like extra hard in the gym, or like I don't want my hair to be short, so like taking like extra good care of my hair, taking like extra good care of my skin. But that wasn't rooted in self-love. It was rooted in, you know, I literally have, like, I'm obsessed with this. I have to do this, because if I step out of this, my life is going to be awful. Now, once I did eventually step out of it, I think it turned into something different of like, I just don't care, and I let myself go in that sense. But that's because I had just obsessed over it for so long. So then, you know, part 3 was finding that balance of, okay, all this that I'm doing, I gotta do this for me. Like, I don't give a damn about the rest of y'all. So yeah, it was definitely it was a journey.
I'm glad you said that. Sorry to keep dragging this on, but I'm going through something similar with that, where I'm trying to not punish myself for like the way that my lifestyle is. And this is the one that I'm referring to for myself is completely different. So I'm gonna just touch bases on what you said, but sorry, but because it doesn't relate in that same sense. But like, don't punish yourself. If you want, like, being healthier should be for you. Loving yourself is strictly for you. Stuff like that. Don't punish yourself for your size, your skin tone, height, how your hair looks. Maybe you don't have enough money. Maybe you don't have a lot of clothes that everybody's wearing and stuff. Like, don't punish yourself. Make it for you. Make that journey for you specifically, not because of what Trey said down the street. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, it has to be about you. This is your life.
It's almost like we're trying to overcompensate for ourselves. Like, oh, because I look like this, I should be exercising more so I don't, you know, like it balances or something. But yeah, that's a big topic for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought he was about to say something. Oh,
Not yet.
So I actually I don't have this written down, but this just came up. So are y'all open to dating outside of your race?
Yes, definitely.
I know your boyfriend's white.
I'm actually single now, so
Oh, dang. She tried to. She's available. And
I
she
haven't been keeping up. My fault.
I feel like, yeah, it's interesting too. It's like having a type or something like that. I don't feel like, I think at some point maybe I had a type, but not anymore. Like, I've been so open-minded lately. I'm just like, you know, like, I'm more so personality, and that's how it should be. Like, I'm going to go for those kinds of qualities and somebody who treats me right and like X, Y, and Z. I don't really care what you look like in a sense. So that's been like a huge transition, and that was more recent too. So
Were you gonna say something?
You can go first.
No, you go.
Okay.
She got a lot to say.
Yes, and it's like the same thing from when I was like younger, but when I was doing it, I just didn't want to have kids that were as dark as me. So I was like, I'm gonna just date a white man, or I'm gonna date somebody lighter than me. But then once I started to, you know, see that men my color can love my skin, or that I can love my skin, I don't need anybody else's validation. I was like, okay, I like dark skinned men. I had the biggest crush on Omar Epps, but yeah. So and
I
then
think everybody
like
did.
now I talk to a Hispanic, so it's like now I'm like, okay, well I can possibly have mixed kids. So you know, it's just like a whole, I don't know, cause like, and it seems like they love your skin too.
Yeah.
Like they literally love your skin, like they're in awe of it. So
I feel like almost every dark-skinned girl that I've talked to that's dated outside their race, they're like, other races love my skin more than my own race.
that's wild.
yeah.
I feel like, what are you gonna say? Nothing. I feel like I have dated outside of my race. My first boyfriend was from Afghanistan, but I think I think I have two things to say. Let's hope I get to the second part without getting distracted. But so I'm not opposed to dating outside of my race. I think, how do I want to say this? So there's this woman, she is on Instagram, and she was also, I'm not sure if y'all have seen Insecure. She's also on Insecure. She was EC's assistant during like the last couple seasons.
Oh, yeah, her. I know her.
She made a post on Instagram, and I love it. She was basically saying how, like, you know how there was this whole thing of like, Black men shouldn't date outside of their race. They can't date white women. And she made a point in saying, we don't care who you date. Date whoever you want to date, but the specific reason as to why you're dating, should it only be because they're white, or because they're this, or because they're that? Like, do you even like the person, or you just like them because they're not Black? And that, when she said that, I was like, you know what? I completely agree. Because me personally, if you look at any guy that I've dated, talked to, they don't look alike. But I realized, and going back to what you said about having a type, I don't have a physical type, but I do have like characteristics of a type. Like everybody that I date is a little bit nerdy. They're a little bit like, they have a little bit of an edge to them, but they're mostly nerdy. I kind of like I like a little, you know, teach me something. But like that, I have a type in that, but the physical, not like nobody looks the same. They really don't look alike at all. Like anybody that I've dated, but. I do have to like be mindful of, you know, why do you like this person, and really touch bases on that too. It can't just be, and you can have a type, like you can like lighter skinned women or lighter skinned men, or darker skinned men. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but like understanding why too, not just because of like the mixed babies, or I think I want my baby to be a little bit lighter, or to have a looser curl, or
tall.
My baby could be tall or have blue eyes. Like it shouldn't be about that. Like, who do you want raising your kids? Like I kind of touch bases a little bit deeper because I'm grown and I want to have kids. I want to be married. I want all of that. And it can't just be about who's light skinned, who's dark skinned, who's this. Like, what can you teach me? What can you offer our kids? What can you progress for our future? You know, because I got a lot to bring to the table, and I need you to be doing the same thing.
Yes.
So it has to be way more than just looks. I can't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I don't think, and I really don't think Black women have an issue with Black men dating white women. It's when they bash us.
That's what I'm saying.
To validate whatever they're doing. You can date whoever you want to date, but don't bash women or bring them down because that's not your type. We don't care who you date. Date who you want to date, but it's like when y'all are dissing your own race because you're with somebody that's not your race, it's like a bad image, and that's when Black women come off as where we don't.
Or
say.
To add on, or they feel like it's a step up. Like I'm finally winning in
Yes,
life once they get with someone of a different race. Because now it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, right? Because I know we had like briefly touched on this, but where does all of this stem from? Like, where does colorism stem from? So you know, white supremacy. So I do want to make an important note that is actually factual though. So yes, colorism is deeply rooted in white supremacy. So according to Margaret Hunter, who wrote for Harvard and she currently teaches there, she's an anthropology professor. She wrote a piece called The Origin of Colorism. The maintenance of white supremacy. So that's deeply rooted in, the aesthetic and different materials. And what she wrote, right, was that colorism is predicated on the notion that dark skin represents savagery, ugliness, and it was crazy to read. But yeah, and that how white skin and thus whiteness itself is defined by the opposite. So by beauty, being superior, and how these contrasting definitions are the foundation for colorism. So my question to you all is did you ever feel like was there ever a time where you felt like you had to put yourself in a box because you felt like hold on, pause. Okay, so did you ever feel like you had to put yourself in a box to appease the counterpart culture, aka white culture, or you never like had that experience before?
Yeah, I would say I did. I think those constant questions that I was getting and like the microaggressions of, all discrimination, everything that I experienced, it kind of made me feel like, okay, well, why should I be my own identity? Why should I be Indian? Why should I, and I'm first generation born in America, so I'm already more Americanized than like my parents. So I kind of shifted towards that even more so. I leaned into it more. And, I had a lot of white friends. I had a lot of, just shifting my culture in general. And that's wrong of me because then I was kind of like shunning away my own self. So I guess I kind of put myself in a box in that sense because I was like, like just shutting off like who I was and who I really am. So as I got older, then I started to really appreciate like who I am. So being in our college that it was the most ethnically diverse college in the Southeast region, that was eye-opening for sure too. Because I was around so many people that were similar to me and like, different but similar in that sense, where it's not just being a minority anymore. Like there's so many different cultures. So that's when I really started to step outside of that box.
Yeah, definitely. What about y'all?
I don't necessarily think so. With ballet and everything, I mean, it was like a whole different type of. I had body dysmorphia from it because the white people there, white people they have like a shape, and the people I were dancing with, and it's like perfect posture. And I have a body, and I was not built like anybody in that classroom. And I used to look in the mirror and hate my body. And it was like on top of already being dark skinned, and everybody else is already lighter than me. I have this body too. Like it was just too much to deal with. But they used to do makeup and stuff, and my mom never let me wear makeup. And I actually thank her for this because it made me love my skin even more. I used to put on some water and Vaseline, and that was my makeup, literally nothing else. So that I feel like I never kind of boxed myself out from anybody, but it kind of taught me to love myself more and accept that I was different and I was never going to be them, no matter how hard I tried, And then when I would go to different areas with people, African Americans, and I would have like a accent because I'm from Savannah, and I used to talk proper, and people would say, "Why are you talking white?" I'm not talking white. I just talk proper because that's what I'm around. I don't have to talk, like I don't have any education. So yeah, that was kind of my experience with that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good stories. I mean, it's it's unfortunate, but it's part of your journey, and you being able to share that's important.
Yeah.
I would say that yes, I did. I grew up in downtown Decatur. Decatur, where it's greater, and it's a lot of white people there, and I feel like code switching is definitely a thing because and sometimes I wouldn't even code switch back because I'm like trying to fit in because that's what I'm surrounded by.
Right.
Everybody's acting like this or we're doing this. And I'm like, when I'm in the house or when I'm over auntie house, like this is not what I do, but I'm doing this because this is what I'm surrounded by. This is the norm. This is what's cool. This is what we're all doing. with like the way that I would talk or the way that I would act. Not necessarily the way I would dress. I didn't have money like that. We didn't have money like that. So it wasn't like the look that everybody had too. And like I said, it was downtown Decatur. Everybody had money. Like I grew up in like the outskirts of it. Like I was still in it, but like, you know how there's like pockets, like nice house, oop, and then nice house. Like I was the oop right there. I was in there. So I didn't have like the funds to like keep up in that way, but I would keep up with like personality or certain things. But
so it kind of goes back. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I'm saying it kind of goes back to what we had talked about, where you felt like you had to overcompensate in other areas because you being basic. Not saying not calling you basic,
no,
but
I get
like
it. It's okay.
like in the event that like you were basic, then it wouldn't be enough. So you felt like you had to overcompensate in other areas.
I definitely felt that way, and it took me a while to like get out of that and then become like my true authentic self. And now I can just be Keisha. Like I don't really care. I'm just Keisha.
Right. You're your own identity now. You don't have
Yeah.
to like, fit
Yeah.
in or whatever.
Yeah. No matter like who's around, I don't have to do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of y'all. I felt like in terms of me being around white people, my skin color was never an issue, but it was more so of my vernacular, and it was more so of my body, of feeling like, okay, I don't feel like I necessarily should be here. But it wasn't like oh, you're so ugly. Like they weren't verbally saying that, but you know how you can kind of just like feel that you're different.
Yeah.
Like no one's verbally saying it, but you just like
sense
feel.
it.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
But then at the same time too, I feel like in terms of me being around my own people, because of course you would think like, okay, I'm gonna be with like my folks and them. But then they were the ones that was verbally saying, you're ugly.
That's wild to me, because I'm looking around. Everybody in this room is beautiful. Like to hear that anybody. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But to hear that anybody is ugly here or anybody is too dark, too this, I'm like, everybody look good. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all, they just have bad taste. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
So quick question, just out of curiosity, and this is a safe place, you can be honest. Have you ever felt in any time of your life that you want to bleach your skin?
I tried it.
What did you use?
Lemon, and I think I don't know if it was baking soda, but I know I made like some type of mix.
Was
My
it
mom.
lemon, baking soda, and I think I know what you're talking about because I put that on my face once I was when I was younger.
Gosh.
It's lemon, baking soda, and another one. Also, you know the Ambi fade cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna bleach your thing too.
And turmeric.
Yeah, turmeric.
Turmeric,
It's gonna get you light.
I've never tried that, but I definitely would say like I try to stay out of the sun as much as possible.
Yeah, I did too when I was
Okay.
younger.
You know,
Okay.
and my
Yeah.
mom even did the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I love her, but she was also like, you know, stay in the shade. Like, don't get darker. Put on as much, like the 70%, 90%
Yeah.
SPF, even though it does nothing. But
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely at least tried to not, you know, get darker
Mm-hmm.
as I was younger. But
Wow. I think I really.
Mm-hmm.
Were you about to? Oh, sorry. I just feel like, because I don't want to cut you off. I can relate to that, staying out of the sun more. But I didn't try to like bleach my entire skin, like dark spots, because I have dark spots. But like I would try to bleach that, but never like the entire thing. But I would stay out of the sun. And now I'm grown. I'm gonna be in the sun.
Yeah.
I'm putting my
my-
sunscreen though, but I'm gonna be in the sun.
My
Yeah,
first time
Texas.
tanning, I think I was like 19, and I was like, wow.
it feels
a
good
lot.
in the sun.
It do.
does.
Yeah.
When I finally did it too, I was like, wow, this actually feels great.
It do.
Why was I shying away from this?
I know.
Can I ask a question? I feel like, is this weird that I just thought of this? But like, cause you know, Black people, we lack vitamin D more than anybody else. Do you think that's why? Cause we avoiding the sun?
Yes.
Probably.
Do you think that's
Yes.
why? Cause I'm
Yes.
like, we
Wild.
lack it on like an optimal level. It's not even just
That
by a
makes
smidge,
sense.
like
Okay,
a lot.
psychology major.
I can see that, right?
Oh.
Very true.
Oh my
That's a good
goodness.
point.
I just thought about that because I'm like,
That's
and
some
I even
good-
have a vitamin D deficiency, but I love the sun. Right now, I get it. It's cold
It's
outside.
cold.
I'm not.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know. You know.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. So, I guess like the closing question, wrap things up. So, you have a brand called Little Black Beauty.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, just tell the folks a little bit what that is.
So basically, I created my LLC to uplift and empower melanated girls to love their skin. So I write poems. I have a book with a dark-skinned girl in it. I speak at events. I post stuff on my page uplifting melanated girls. I just basically speak on colorism and the issues that it has within, and I post different girls of dark skin to let younger girls know there's not a certain beauty standard you need to make because you have dark skin. So that's really it. It's just like a empowerment type of business. I'm here to uplift and encourage the younger, because it starts when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
It starts when
It
you're
does.
young. It started when I was young, too young. So if I can be there to help or improve somebody's life, and I already have, which is kind of crazy at my age, but yeah, that's what it is.
That's good.
That's amazing.
And what are you
Yeah.
talking about, girl? That is amazing. You better
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
clap for
that's
yourself,
awesome.
because you turned something that was like such a negative thing for you and turned it into something better. And now, like, little girls and women are gonna be so much more empowered, and especially if you're starting with them early, like they're gonna be able to see like, I actually don't need to do all of this stuff. Like, I'm beautiful just how I am.
Yeah, I remember it was an older lady. I told her you should try red. She was like, I've been scared to try red. I'm too dark. I feel like I'm too dark. I'm like,
Oh,
try, because
wow.
she seen color in my hair. I also do that too. Like, I like trying different colors.
Yeah.
Because it's like this whole thing where dark skins can't wear it. No, I'm gonna wear whatever I want.
Exactly.
She came. I told her you should try red. She came back 2 days later and had red, and she said how much she loved it, and she looks so beautiful. And then after that, I was kind of just encouraged by myself to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
People are actually listening to your testimony, so don't
Yeah.
stop.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
That is
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's crazy, because growing up too, you know how like you wanted to dye your hair and do different things and people would tell you no.
Yes.
Wear red lipstick. No,
Yes.
don't do that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, I want to wear blonde hair. No, don't do that.
Yes. And you know what? Somebody told me they were like, the only dark skin that need to wear blonde hair is Dejanay from the Proud Family.
Oh wow.
Why would you say that? Why
Like,
would you let
wow.
that come out of your mouth? Why would you?
That's bizarre.
Who raised you? Why
Like-
would you do that?
Right.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so I guess one more closing question, then we're going to be done for real. But in present day, do you still struggle with your skin color?
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. There may be like some little part of you in the back of your head that still like says something.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the more empowering voice in my head is telling me like, "Nah, you're beautiful. Like you go, you go be powerful. You go like, you know, do
Yes.
this and that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna stop us. You know."
Yeah. It's the same.
No, amen to that. We love ending on a positive note.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah, thank y'all so much for joining me. I absolutely love this discussion. Hopefully, I want y'all to come back. So hopefully, y'all want to come back
Yes,
Yes.
too.
please.
Okay, absolutely. Period. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. And overall, just make sure that, you know, you love yourself, you value yourself. If you're dark skinned, you can wear whatever hair color you want, whatever lip color, shade. You don't have to hide your skin color at all. You are beautiful. You do matter. So you can follow the crew right here on all social media platforms at
Submit Psychosis.
Defining_Keisha.
A little black beauty _ on Instagram.
okay, and period. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at From the Block Podcast. Okay, bye.
Bye.